Hi friends, this is Dr. Apoorv and this is a quick video to talk about what to do in NEET. So I was looking for a person who has handled this pressure twice. I came across Dr. Anurag Kumar, who's sitting with me here. He got ranked 65 in AIMS November 19 and then again ranked 25 in PGI November 2019. There are things that we want to talk about. Number one, how to give the exam. Number two, how many questions to attempt. Number three, what to do of the questions in which you can rule out two options and one in which you can rule out one option. So, Anurag, I'll go with the first question. How many did you attempt in your AIMS? If we take out of 200 MCQs, agreed there are 288 options. But if there are 200 MCQs, what's your attempt, overall total attempt?
So, sir, I attempted 187.2 marks out of 200 marks.
So this is what is very crucial. His attempt was almost to the tune of 95%. So if we extrapolate this to NEET exam, this comes out to around 285 to 290 questions which are recommended everywhere. Do not attempt less because it's a single answer exam. There are not multiple patterns. I am sure that if you just take this away that he spoke 187.2, if you go to the single answer type which were 150 questions, what was your attempt, Anurag?
146.
This is what you need to understand. So this is a bias. 146 out of 150 is what you extrapolate to 300. So you make it double. That comes to 292. This is what I want to tell you. So 187.2 is a lesser percentage. But when you take the single answer type, you should take more chances because the negatives here are 1/4. Although AIMS has got 1/3. So if you mark one answer correct, you have a scope of getting 3 more wrong, right, in NEET. So this is what you should understand. Take your chances. So if you mark 20, you just have to mark around 5 correct to equalize everything else. But if the moment you have more than that correct, you start getting into positive. So keep a positive check. Marking less will get you into a threat of scoring 2 less. Second point. If you look at the paper, Anurag, did you go in a sequence that one to end, or you were marking the questions as mark for review or submit and review? How you were doing it?
So, I attempted the questions in sequence and I was not marking too many questions for review because if you mark too many questions, then the probability of getting confused at the end of the exam increases because you are more stressed towards the end of the exam. So, I marked less than 20 questions in AIMS for review.
This is again a crucial thing. Try to think and take a step then only, until unless you are actually wanting to review at the end, because at the end you will be finishing your paper, and at the end the second thing which you will do is you will have questions to review as well, which will be at the end more stressful. So the suggestion is we try to avoid taking questions for review. We only do that where we are sure that with time we'll be able to apply our brain, or warming up will make us better. I have seen people who have bad patch in the exam, around 10 to 12 questions in the beginning they struggle, and when they are done with the entire paper with the routine questions that they see, they come back to those questions and they are able to apply the brain. So those are the questions you can put for review, but unnecessarily don't keep on reviewing because that will just keep on creating confusions and you will keep on changing the answers which are not advisable. Absolutely. The second thing, Anurag, you went in a sequence. This is again golden. You have sections in NEET. Go in the relevant sequence. Do not try to mix them up. Otherwise, you will end up missing some questions. Although in my country, except for PGI, you are not short of time. In NEET and AIMS, you have sufficient time. But since you can expect long questions coming up, so go in a sequence and go do the paper section wise so that you go in a synchrony. The next thing I want to understand is, if you have ruled out only one option, and you have 3 left, what should one do to this question?
I think in AIMS it is plus minus, but in NEET you should attempt such questions because in NEET the negative marking is less, and if you can rule out even one option, then you should mark it.
So I got these mails, sir. If we rule out one option, what should we do? If you have 3, mark it because you have high probability because the negatives in NEET is less. If we rule out 2 options, Anurag,
then we should definitely attempt it
then
even in
you
AIMS.
know it. So in entrance exams, if you are able to rule out 2 options, it means you know this topic. Please understand this. In AIMS, the leftover 2 answers are very close. So it's very difficult to get them correct. But in NEET, the leftover two answers, if you keep on applying your brain, there's a wide gap between the options. So apply your common sense, as I always say, carry two things in the examination hall, your roll number and common sense. If you have these two, right, it will work very well. Even if the roll number is not there, you might find a way, but if you don't have common sense, there's no way. Right. And if you have no idea about the question,
So, sir, in AIMS, we have to be aggressive because the seats are very less and you have to, it is a high risk, high reward thing. So, I wanted to attempt as many questions as possible. If someone is targeting a good rank in NEET, even he has to be aggressive. But if someone is like needs a branch which he can get at a rank around 5,000, 2,000, then he can attempt around 280 or something. But if someone needs a good branch, then he has to attempt even such questions where he has no idea. But yeah, even like some common sense should be applied.
Right. So there will be some hint in the question which you are looking at. So I was speaking to Zainab some time back, and this is what she said. If you have a question on percentage or scientist, do mark it. This was her option, and she said usually the answer is among the second or third option. And this is what we discover when we look at the percentage, names or years. Usually the first and fourth answer is not correct. This has been something which I've seen during my UG preparation, during my the pre-PMT preparation, and then I realized in the PG preparation and while teaching also that the most of the question that the examiner framed, the second or third option is the correct one. A quick take on changing the answers. People do change. They look at the paper and they keep changing the answers. What do you suggest?
So there are two types of questions, I think. One is the fact-based answers. So, or an eponymous answer. So in that, whatever comes in your mind first, just click it and don't think it again. But if it is a conceptual question, like some values are given and you have to derive something, in that case, you can give a second thought according to, like when you are less stressed in the exam. Usually in the mid of the exam, people are less stressed and then you can go through the question again. But in factual questions, first guess is usually the right one.
So if you have concepts in the less stress area, when your mind starts working during the exam, right, you can have a go at it. But if you are a person, right, and you have a fact-based question, right, and the first thought that comes to you never change. In the All India through which I qualified, I changed 3 answers and I got 2 wrong out of them, 1 correct. So that's how the balance went into negative. So suggestion is, I wish that there was an Anurag talking to me at that time. My suggestion overall is, if a concept is there and you realize that your calculations or conceptual things get you to a better answer, right, then you do change, otherwise you don't. I always tell them, it is called as multiple choice question. The word choice is before the question, because the choices are more important than the question. You do not score in my country if you understand the question. You also do not score in my country if you mark the correct answer. You score in my country when you mark the best correct answer. So keep this in mind, there can be 2 correct answers in the exam. So always look at all the 4 options. If you do not do that, you will falter. Do not mark the first option without reading all the options. Because पहला option हमेशा धोखा होता है, चाहे जिंदगी हो, चाहे MCQs हो. So first option can be dangerous. Be careful. And just before the exam, remember, just before the exam, outside the examination hall, there are 3 candidates. Candidate A, Dr. A, who will talk to a lot of people, high in energy, right? And that's the person who will answer everything, and people around him are overcharged. These are called as hyper people. Option 2, option B, sitting underneath a tree revising his notes. And option C, right? This is what you have to be. Option C, a person thinking about the strategy of the exam. What to do. I want to aim for a good rank, I'll answer more than 285. Even if I have no idea, I'll try to make an answer. If 1 is ruled out or a 3, I'll make a guess. If 2 are ruled out, I know this question. If there's a conceptual question, I'll again verify. I will not change my answers. And B, option C, because Dr. A and Dr. B will again write the exam next time. It is option C who will again choose the branch. मुझे ortho चाहिए, radio चाहिए, psychiatry चाहिए, right? And this is what I feel. Anything else you want to say, Anurag? Final words.
So, like, the most important thing is to give the exam with a cool mind, because with stress you do tend to mark questions wrong, and this is what happened with me in AIMS because I was stressed before the exam. And so before PGI I relaxed a lot more than I used. Like, I meditated for hours before PGI exam, and the rank actually improved.
So his knowledge did not change.
Yeah.
His temperament improved. This is the golden message. If you are calm on that day, you'll have 100 marks for being calm. Keep the faith. Talk to yourself. Tell you can do that. People who do that are also humans. And you are also one of them. You have a mission. And on that day, your mission is to play in those 210 minutes with 100% focus with a plan. Because people say when you have a plan, you are automatically calm. So, what gets you calm is a plan. Think about it. All the very best. Thank you very much.